The South African Council for Natural Scientific Professions is celebrating 20 years in existence. The organization was set up to establish, direct, sustain and ensure a high level of professionalism and ethical conscience among its scientists. Recently, the focus of the organization has been getting more women involved and interested in science, with a number of initiatives aimed at attracting girls from a young age. And for more on this, we're now joined by Dr. Nompumelelo Obokoh, who is the CEO of SACNASP, and she joins us via our video link. Nompumelelo, thank you so much for joining us here on the late edition on SABC News. Perhaps let's start off here. What is the South African Council for Natural Scientific Professions and why does it exist?
No, thank you very much, and for the opportunity for us to join you this evening. The SACNASP, which is the South African Council for the Natural Scientific Profession, registers as well as regulates our natural scientists here in South Africa. We are actually a regulatory body established by an Act of Parliament, which is the Natural Scientific Professions Act 27 of 2003. So the Council reports to the Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation. So we report directly to the Department of Science and Innovation.
And you are celebrating 20 years of existence. Perhaps maybe if you can highlight what have been the greatest achievements which you have achieved as SACNASP.
No, definitely. I think we're quite excited by what we have done over the 20-year period. Of course, there have been some challenges here and there, but most notably is the registration, the number of scientists that are registered with us. We started at around 287, maybe from 2003 thereabout. And of course, now we're looking at over 16,900 registered scientists from various fields of practice, from agricultural science, environmental science, biology, zoology, so the A to Z of the natural sciences. And more than that, we also were deliberate as a council to ensure that women are also catered for as we are looking at various interventions and outreach programs that we have, but most importantly, our youth. So we've also seen a tremendous increase in the registration from our women scientists and also from the young natural scientists who now want to undertake and ensure that they progress in their profession, starting as a candidate natural scientist and then moving on as a certificated, and then of course they become professional natural scientists, as part of their journey towards professionalization.
And of course, you are trying to reach out to young women and more women to be part of, natural scientists. And one would say that we find ourselves in the midst of the matric exams. How do you make it more attractive to young children and young girls to make it seem as if that, being a scientist is an option for many young girls in the country?
No, thank you very much for that question. I think that is quite essential for us to reach out to our young girls. So we've got quite a number of outreach programs working with various stakeholders in the sector, in the natural science sector, ensuring that we hold our young people, our young girls, to understand, the value and how they can contribute to the development of this country. So in terms of our outreach programs, we've gone even to the Northern Cape, working with various stakeholders even there. And what was even key is to also ensure that we've got technologies like the fourth industrial revolution, where we do experiments with them and they like it because they can see and they can also look at what are the challenges within the communities and how they can use these new technologies and ensure that they solve their problems. So here we are looking at how do we also encourage them to be entrepreneurs, not just job seekers, but people who can also look at opportunities to be entrepreneurs and to assist in their communities once they have graduated from the universities. So there are quite a number of programs that we have initiated over the years, which really speaks to these core challenges that we have in the country. And for us, these are deliberate interventions to ensure that, we move in where it matters most, and we make an impact through some of these interventions. And it's not only us, but we are working closely with various partners, public-private partnerships. They become very important as we go into these, communities as well.
And of course, we're speaking about more representation of women in the science field. And you are saying that you've actually seen an increase when it comes to the registration of more females in your space. Surely that this is a step in the right direction, because I'm sure it seems as if it must still be a very male-dominated space. Or would you say that, it's changing somewhat?
Yeah. Well, overall, of course, there's still gaps. There's still a long way to go. We do need to have very intentional interventions and programs to ensure that we've got more women representatives. But I think gender mainstreaming becomes even more crucial. Hence, it becomes important then that we work together as various stakeholders, government entities, to ensure that as part of our policies, as part of our strategies, issues of women, issues of gender inclusivity and diversity become part and parcel of what we do, so that we can close the gap. But in our case, of course, through various interventions, again, we have gone out engaging with our women scientists and also using the women themselves as the role models, as the mentors of the young women scientists, to ensure that they can also hold their hands and move with them as they journey on as natural scientists, so that they have someone that they can rely on, they can engage with when they've got challenges, either in the laboratory or where they are working. So these are some of the strategic interventions that we've put in place to ensure that we move along with, and as we rise, we move along with all the other women scientists as well. But of course, there's still a lot of work that still needs to be done. And I think, we are heading in the right direction. Yeah.
What makes this platform so important, or this council important, especially when you look at, the greater scale of the country and how it contributes, to our everyday lives?
Yeah. Now, of course, I think we need to acknowledge and recognize the pivotal role that science, technology, and innovation can play in addressing some of the grand societal challenges. So this really needs us as a country. Of course, there are already strategies, policies that talks to how we can invest, and not only in building human capacity, but also, the infrastructure, our laboratories, the universities, so the entire value chain, so that we can leverage from the scientific discoveries and also ensure that they are commercialized for us as a country to therefore tap into this knowledge and develop ourselves as a country, as a continent, in order to be globally competitive. So I think we need more people, we need government, we need the private sector to really help and invest in research and development, and also, capacity building.
And lastly, Nompumelelo, what more can we expect now that you're celebrating 20 years? What more can we expect from the council going forward?
No, I think we need to now look at, I think our vision going forward is quite exciting. We have partnered now with the University of Johannesburg. Actually, yesterday, we signed an MOU with UJ Business School under the leadership of Professor Carlson, and that is quite key for us, because when you look at the technologies that they are developing, which are 4IR based, AI, machine learning, also the robotics, we want to use these new technologies and leverage and ensure that our processes are AI driven, so that when we are more efficient, we are effective in registering our scientists, we can also look at other intervention as well, using data for decision making, for strategy, so that we can respond to some of the needs of our scientists. But more than that, we want to collaborate with the private sector even more, because we've got quite a number of young people coming from the universities and not getting employment. So we want to ensure that the database that we have can be the first points where they can source, our natural scientists, our young people, and then they can get employment. So we're working closely with quite a number of industry players, so that they also can ensure that within their companies, They have scientists that are registered because we have a robust code of conduct that also speaks to how our scientists should also conduct themselves as they deliver their services.
Nompumelelo, thank you so much for your time. That is Nompumelelo Obokoh. She is the CEO for the South African Council for Natural Scientific Professions, also there highlighting, celebrating 20 years of existence, also speaking about, the representation of more women, specifically young women, and wanting to see more of them also becoming scientists.